do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!
What's up, everybody? My name is Ethan. This is Courtside TV. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe. And reminder to everyone, if you didn't see the video from the other day, this is going to be pre-recorded. I'm recording this on Tuesday evening, scheduled to be uploaded on Friday. So if any of this information is inaccurate, although I do believe it will be, considering I'm not really talking about anything currently going on, that is the reason why. But yeah, let's get into it. So today I wanted to talk about overreactions in the NBA. People and the media overreacting to specific, results from early in a season. Or just really from a year-long perspective when we're discussing the impact of certain things on a player's career as a whole, right? So whether that's reacting to specific games or a team starting out slowly or a team starting out hot, or whatever it may be, I think I've noticed it more this year, but maybe that's just because I'm paying attention to it more. But I definitely think that we've had a lot of early overreactions in the NBA this season, and it always bugs me. And I kind of want to get into why, and just my philosophy on not freaking out about things. So specifically this year, we have seen multiple teams start in a direction that we are not expecting them to start in, right? Whether that's over, to this point, like things that are still happening, or things that have now kind of reverted back to maybe where we expected them to be. So you can talk about this with teams starting hot. Teams such as the New York Knicks or the Cleveland Cavaliers, or the Atlanta Hawks or the Brooklyn Nets, or you can go down the list, right? These are teams that started 2-0, 3-0, 4-1, straight up and down the board, teams that have started super, super well and now have kind of cooled off a little bit and are starting to maybe be a little bit more of what we expected them to be, or maybe a little bit worse than we expected them to be. And you can go the other way with the Golden State Warriors getting blown out their first two games and now turning it around and actually looking really good over their last few. Similar deal with the Denver Nuggets, who started off very slowly. Similar with the Dallas Mavericks, who started off very slowly. And there are teams so far this year who, have started slow and then have now turned it around and started to look a lot more respectable. And then teams that have started very hot and now have kind of regressed back and have started to look not so good. But all we heard for the first week of the season was the Warriors aren't going to make the playoffs, the Nuggets defense sucks, the Toronto Raptors are horrible, the Dallas Mavericks suck, Luka Doncic is not going to get any better this year, he's not an MVP candidate, and on the other side of the coin, Colin Sexton's going to make the All-Star team, Darius Garland is amazing, Julius Randle's going to make the All-Star team, Trae Young is the MVP, all of that kind of stuff. And I'll admit that I even played into it a little bit, right? With a lot of my videos over the last couple of weeks being on teams that have started quickly and also teams that have not started very quickly at all. But in all those videos, I always try to remain very okay, this is still early, but we can, build off of what we've seen here from a couple of these teams, right? But I think some people just take it way too far, and specifically that's on NBA Twitter, right? And I know that I shouldn't be taking people on Twitter very seriously because a lot of those people are trolls, or they're 13, or all that kind of stuff, right? These are not serious basketball analysts. But also on the topic of serious basketball analysts, people do this on TV too, where they'll go on First Take or they'll go on Undisputed or wherever it is, right? These huge talk shows that millions of people watch every single day, and say all this random stuff about whoever, right? Whether it's the two guys I have on the screen here, Nikola Jokic and Steph Curry, whose teams both started pretty slowly and now have turned it around, and just talking crazy about all these guys and saying whatever the heck you want because it doesn't matter, because there's going to be no consequences for just saying some random stuff because you assume that people will just forget it in a week, and for the most part they do. And I get that people have to fill time, and I get that people have to get their clicks and get people to view and whatever. And typically it's good for business to come out with a hot take. But I just dislike the whole air around everything in the NBA, where we have to make grand declarations about specific things 4 games into the season. And I want to speak on specifically something that I've seen, because you guys know that I'm a big Warriors fan, and I'm very plugged into Warriors Twitter. I follow a ton of people who, all they do is tweet about the Warriors. I'm in Warriors Discord servers. I have, I chat with Warriors fans quite often about our thoughts on the team. And it just gets to me when people make like huge, like sweeping declarations about a team after a random loss in January. As I'm recording this, the Warriors just lost to the Pacers at home, right? And if you watch the game, they kind of didn't play super well in the fourth quarter, kind of let the game get away. James Wiseman didn't play super well, and they kind of just let the Pacers get away with it, right? Credit to Indiana, they played a great game, and they closed out very well. And also the Warriors didn't have Eric Paschall, who has been great as their backup center over the last couple of games. And obviously against a team with Miles Turner and Domantas Sabonis, lacking a center is not a good thing, right? Lacking a guy in your big man rotation is not going to help against those two, right? And the Pacers were shorthanded and all this stuff, right? And so you can read into all of that and say, dang, the Warriors can't beat a Pacers team without Victor Oladipo and TJ Warren, and they were only missing Eric Paschall. And Steph Curry didn't shoot the ball well, and James Wiseman didn't play very well. And so this Warriors team they have some major things to figure out, and they just can't play well against these good teams, and they're not going to go very far in the playoffs because they lost to the Pacers on Tuesday in January. And people did the same thing against the Clippers. Not the Clippers game that they won. They played the Clippers twice. The first game against the Clippers they lost, and it was very similar to tonight, where they were in the game with a couple of minutes left and didn't execute very well down the stretch and ended up losing. And it was a very, very similar thing where it's like they can't stay in the game against real title contenders. This team sucks. James Wiseman is not good. Steph Curry's not good. Andrew Wiggins is not good. Like all up and down the roster. And it's from like Warriors fans. Like people like me who love this team are like losing their minds over a loss 3 weeks into the season in a regular season game to a very good team. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Like this game does not matter very much. Like I get that it counts for the records, and I get that we can watch and like see some trends of things that they might need to fix. But seriously, I've seen people legitimately saying like, this is why they should just tank this year. This is why they're not a finals contender. This is why they should have not drafted Wiseman. This is why they should trade whoever, trade Kelly Oubre, trade, right? Like it just really, really bothers me, the overreactions to random regular season games. And I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate to that with fans of your own team, right? Like whether your team is really, really good or really, really bad this year. Like if you're a fan of the Houston Rockets, they're crazy struggling right now. And I'm sure that there's a lot of overreactions in Houston after they lost by 20 tonight to the Lakers. And I guess that's a different scenario with all the James Harden stuff. But I think you understand the point I'm trying to make. As well as like with the Dallas Mavericks and the Nuggets and all those teams that I mentioned earlier that were struggling early on in the season and have now flipped it around. Like every loss does not need to be fire the coach, fire the GM, trade everybody. Like, I get that most rational people are not doing that. But when I see it all the time on Twitter and in my chats and everything, it just drives me crazy. So, I don't know. I think that's about all I wanted to say. Just please stop overreacting. Just please stop doing it. It's ridiculous. It's getting ridiculous at this point. And unless I'm insane, I really feel like I've been seeing it a lot more this year than I have in past. And whether that's because the offseason was so long for a lot of these teams, and it's been so long since we've seen them play, and it's all these brand new rosters for the first time in over a year because, like, yes, we had the bubble and then there was the offseason, so now this is the first time we're seeing like actually new teams in about a year and a half. So maybe that plays into it for some reason, where people are just more prone to overreact to the offseason because we spent so long analyzing all of this stuff, right? I don't know. Maybe that's why. But I really do feel like I'm seeing it more often on NBA Twitter and stuff, and maybe I just need to get off NBA Twitter entirely because there's plenty of reasons why NBA Twitter is not a great place to be, and that is just one of them, and maybe it's not good for my mental health at this point. But anyway, yeah, I think that's all I have on this topic. So anyway, like I said at the top of the video, if you're new, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, ring the bell if you want to, leave a comment letting me know what you guys think about this, how you feel about people overreacting early in the season. Does it bother you as much as it bothers me? Because it's been driving me crazy so far. But yeah, with all that said, I will see you guys in the next one.